Welcome to Hello Port Hueneme. I'm your host Tom Dunn, and today we're at the Hueneme School District headquarters, and I am going to have a wonderful talk with the superintendent, Dr. Christine Walker. Welcome, Doctor.
Thank you.
Uh, if I remember correctly, over 2 years ago we had our first interview when you took over, and then last year was your second year, so you're starting your third year now.
Mm-hmm.
You feel comfortable now and know where all the schools are?
Definitely getting more comfortable, but I feel like we are still at the beginning of what I hope to be a long journey.
Well, we have the new school year coming up. When does it start?
It starts on August 28th on
On-
Tuesday.
I believe that's next week,
Yes.
a week from yesterday, 2 days ago. What I want to do is, and I want to thank you, Christine sends us weekly posts for Port Hueneme News that tells about what's going on in the school district, and it's in both English and Spanish. And really appreciate that, and those will start back up soon.
Actually, we're doing something a little bit different this year,
Oh.
so when we might talk about that a little bit later.
Okay, good enough. What I'd like for you to do is, we're going to have a lot of new parents bringing their kids and starting, is let them know a little bit what went on last year. What did the school, Hueneme School District, do as far as what happened, changes that were made, and are there 8 elementary schools and a junior high? Is that what you have?
We have 9 elementary schools and 2 junior high schools.
Okay, all right. What went on last year that you'd like the incoming parents to know about that the school district worked on and things that were accomplished here?
Well, I think that last year we really worked a lot towards our rebranding. So we had a new vision and mission 2 years ago, and so last year was really kind of the first year that took hold. So our kind of 3 sort of motto words are inspire, empower, and thrive. And so everything that we did, we tried to really use those 3 words to kind of shape what we do. So we had one of our new big initiatives was we had a new language arts adoption, which we had not had a new language arts adoption in over 10 years.
And what is that?
Our new program is called Wonders, and it is an elementary program, so our kindergarten through 5th grade students, so these are the new instructional materials that they use. So that was new for everybody. It looked very different, so parents who were used to the same materials year after year saw something very different last year, but it's all up to the new state standards, and the teachers went through a lot of professional development with those new materials, and even this summer they've still been doing a lot of training with that. So that was definitely one of the big new initiatives. And then our junior high is implementing their new program this year for language arts. In terms of technology, a lot of the new language arts materials is that they access it through their device, whether it be an iPad or a Chromebook or a laptop. So much of the information comes through that platform, even starting as early as kindergarten. So all of our kinder and 1st grade classes, they all have a small group set of devices, and then 2nd through 8th grade is all one-to-one devices. So much of that is all the new language arts really fits well with the new devices, but we've had to be on an update cycle every year, because as soon as we kind of got everybody outfitted, we're now having to go back and replace some of the earlier devices. One of the new things new to our district was under our LCAP, which is our Local Control and Accountability Plan, we added new funding in the area of performing arts. And so every school received funding in this area, and each school kind of implemented it differently, but some of the things that I saw throughout, we had a lot of hip-hop happening at our schools, where we had hip-hop teachers come in, we had mariachi and flamenco coming in, we also had storytelling, and an expanded band program. Now, we've had our regular band program in our district for a number of years, and then a few years back, we brought it back to the elementary level, but this funding kind of built on that funding and kind of went beyond musical instruments and kind of some of the other areas of performing arts. So last year was kind of the first year that we tried that, and this is going to be our second year, kind of building on what was started last year. So that was really new and exciting, and I think that always, any time that you can get art infused throughout the day, that's really going to benefit the education of the whole child.
I know one thing that was different was you as the superintendent and all the teachers, everybody had to adapt to the Thomas fire back in December, and that caused some first-time changes in your routine. How did that go?
That really was definitely a unique experience for all of us. In fact, as I was meeting with staff at the end of the year, kind of just reflecting on the year, I would say 90% of the people I met with referred back to the Thomas fire. We have about 30% of our staff that live in Ventura, and so many of them, were evacuated from their homes. So we ended up having to close school for a total of 7 days, which was, unprecedented for us. It really tested our communication system, how we communicate with our staff, how we communicate with our parents, and then having to make that decision every day as to whether or not school was going to be in session. It also was a time where we really got to test our communication with kind of our other local agencies and checking on, what is the air quality and, things like that. So it was a unique time for us, but I think also tested a lot of our kind of emergency preparedness.
A good dry run. Not, well, it wasn't dry, but
Right.
it was a real thing, but not like it was
Right.
in other parts.
It was kind of interesting because we had, as you and I have talked before, last summer we had started down the path of redoing and updating our emergency operations plan. And so now in the middle of updating that, we had a real emergency that happened in our community. And so we were able to kind of, take that real experience, apply it to our plan, and I feel like made it a stronger plan.
Real time.
Right, exactly.
And yeah, you got to, because let's see, it was, we had a safety meeting with some of the civic leaders, the police and stuff, and the school staff, and you were having a company come in and do a safety program overview and suggestions and stuff. So what they suggested, I guess that showed it worked pretty good when this happened.
Yeah, it was really twofold, because I think we actually had, so we started down the path of working with an outside agency on the emergency operations plan, and that plan really has to do with what do you do after an emergency happens, like you have a large-scale earthquake or a fire, some event that happens that you then as a school district have to respond to. Then, in addition to that, we had a site vulnerability assessments, which I think of as kind of the more proactive part of the plan, taking a look at our school sites and determining what areas might we be vulnerable and what kinds of recommendations do they have for us. So some of the recommendations that they had for us included things like making sure that we had a single point of entry at our schools and that all visitors are forced to go into the school offices. So we had already started remodeling some of our schools that way, but now as of this summer, we will now be down to only 2 more schools left. So we've done now 8 of the 11 schools. We kind of left the ones that were the major renovations at the end. So one of those major renovations happened this summer, and then the other 2 will happen either during the school year or next summer. They also talked about things of just check-in procedures and making sure that you didn't have gaps in your check-in procedures. Things, what does your exterior fencing look like? What does your lighting look like? So those are all things that we have been looking at and evaluating and updating.
In association with that, in a way, for the election for the bond issue, the school bonds, and that was in June, was it?
It was
In
in
June.
June.
And the Hueneme School District, people overwhelmingly supported the bond measure. And I don't know what the total was that Hueneme School District was getting, but can you tell us how much they got? And what are, let's say, the three major areas that you'll take that money and use to develop what?
So the bond was for $34 million, and our primary things that we're going to be using with that money is for safety upgrades, so all of our fire alarms, electrical, and air conditioning. And those three projects will most likely take the entire $34 million. In fact, we're hoping that the $34 million will cover all of those things. One of the reasons that we feel really strongly about getting air conditioning in is, number one, school safety. When we had the vulnerability assessment, one of the recommendations is that teachers keep their doors closed and locked all the time. And right now, this is a warm time right now, and it's too warm for our staff to be keeping their doors closed and locked all the time. So we feel like that's going to be a really important piece. In addition, when we had the Thomas fire, the smoke and the poor air quality reminded us, for another reason, because our electrical systems are so old, we can't even look at doing the AC until we upgrade all of the electrical systems. And along with that, we'll do all of our fire alarms as well. So those are really the three, major projects: fire alarm, electrical, and air conditioning. And that will probably use up our entire bond. We'll finish up doing the other two schools' front entrances, and we already have funding set aside from that. So that will be from some existing funding, not out of the new bonds.
We had talked earlier a little bit about just the logistics of getting the air conditioning system in when the buildings, the schools aren't used that much. Because the teachers, you have summer school?
We usually have summer school that's at one site.
At one site,
school
okay.
site.
And teachers do come in and work, so they're going to have to try to get that done in between schools, the summer and the fall opening.
Right.
Because there's no infrastructure for air conditioning.
Right. And we can't, it's not a project that we could try and do during the school year because of needing, obviously, to have electrical during the school year for all of the other things that we use electricity for. We just can't shut off the electrical during the school year. So we're in the process. We're going out for an RFP right now for a project manager, construction management. We have our architect on board, and we'll start kind of looking at the design phase of that so we can get a better idea of what the timeline is. I would, of course, love to have it in, a year from now. Whether or not that's feasible, I don't know, because we don't have all of the specs and to know exactly what each school is going to require.
There's nothing that's been done that you can go back and say,
Right.
do that. And, with the weather change, with the drought the last 4 or 5 years, we did have one good rainy year, but the temperatures have risen.
They have.
Because I remember it was 68 degrees right here all the time. My wife, who would work in Newberry Park, it'd be 80 up there, and she'd come down here, it'd be 68. It's in the mid-70s a lot, low 70s now, so the air conditioning, and again, with the safety laws all over, and I've read this all over the United States, where they're going to, the schools cannot be indoors, have to be closed. You definitely need air conditioning.
Right.
And so I'm glad, you got the money for that, and the people of Port Hueneme care that much about their children's education.
No, we are very appreciative of the bond passing and the support that we received from the community for this.
I think the other two, Pleasant Valley and Oxnard, they each won by like 0.2%.
It was very, very close. So I was very pleased that I wasn't having to, live on the edge of my seat for those couple weeks right after the election. So very much appreciative of the community for supporting us.
Okay, now, as you said, school starts next Tuesday. What plans are there for new programs, anything that the parents will see, and what do the parents need to prepare their first year students for when they come to the Hueneme School District?
Well, there's a couple things I'm really excited about. I'll start with a couple things that are happening at both of our junior highs, at both Blackstock and at EO Green. We have a couple new classes that we're doing. One of them is we are starting a STEM elective at both schools. STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So that's going to be a new elective that's offered at both of our junior highs. So we're redoing the classrooms and getting new equipment and new supplies.
This is sort of more technical stuff, isn't that they're being
Yeah,
introduced to?
it's very hands-on, but it's kind of a integrated approach between science, technology, engineering, and math. So, in fact, we were over at the Port of Hueneme last week having our leadership meetings, and I'm looking forward to kind of maybe collaborating with the different organizations that are in our area for both of those classes. So, very excited about that. Also excited, a new thing that we're doing this year is we're offering a zero period at both junior highs, and during that zero period we're offering a fitness class. And what that will do, we have some students that due to their schedule, they're not able to take an elective during the regular day. It's going to allow them to take this fitness class, which will be their PE class, so that they can then take an elective during the day. So rather than having a regular PE class, we have renovated 2 rooms and turned them into a fitness center. We have state-of-the-art equipment, all brand new equipment, new flooring, and it's going to be kind of, nutrition, fitness, health, all in one. So we're really excited about that, both of those classes.
The 2 of the biggest thing I've heard over the last 5 years about our youth is, one, they're overweight, so the fitness thing is good, and 2, the number of, I'm going to say, both out high school and college, the number of youth that are majoring or working in the scientific fields has really gone down versus 20 years ago, and that's where so many of the other countries in the world, they're really high on studying this new scientific stuff. So I think the STEM program, especially starting at the grade level you are,
Right.
is something that will become almost, not secondary, but it'll become part of their life. And it won't be just for the special few who have a bend for that type of, information or like doing that kind of stuff. So I think that's really, really good.
Yeah, so I'm very excited about both of those, both the STEM elective as well as the fitness class. Another big thing that we are doing this year is, and this is what I alluded to a little bit earlier, is that we have launched a new website as well as a new app. And so we went to a whole new platform and really tried to look at our website from the standpoint of a community member, a family member, to really make it easy to find information out about the district. So on our homepage, it's very streamlined, and we have one section that's a live feed, kind of like what you might see on a Twitter or a Facebook feed, as well as a news section. So all of our news and live feed will be right there on our website, and every school has one with the same information. Also, parents, family, community members can download our app. The app also has the live feed for all of our schools, all of the information, and everything will be posted simultaneously to Twitter, Facebook, and our live feed on our website at one time. So we were evaluating the newsletter that we did last year and kind of the, what our readership was like, and we think that this is going to be a more effective way to communicate with more of our stakeholders. So we actually just launched our website this week on Monday. So we're still getting a few kinks worked out, but I'll call it our soft launch, and then next week we should have all the kinks worked out, and the app is available right now to download from the Apple Store or the Android Store. Another thing that I'm really excited about this year is we have in our district since 2005, we've had one dual language school, which was at Bard Elementary School, where students can come in and learn English and Spanish regardless of what their native language is. And we are opening our second dual language program at Parkview School this fall, so there'll be more space available. It's a very popular program. We usually always run out of space, so we're excited to start the second program at Parkview. this year. They'll be starting on Tuesday, and they already have a full group of kindergarten and first graders. And the goal is for the students to learn both languages side by side with their peers, depending on whatever their native language is.
Uh, Now having a great, we actually have a great granddaughter, but I can see her enthusiasm. Do the kindergartners, when they come in, do they show a lot of that now? I remember when I think I went, there was a lot of crying. I want to go home and stuff like that, but what's their attitude when they come in here?
I think for the most part, kids are really excited. Our kindergarten teachers do a great job of, usually they'll have a little pre-back to school the day before to kind of give them a chance to be there with their parents and get comfortable to try and help the, maybe some of the nervousness the next day. So I think that we are less and less tears every year, but I would say for the most part, 95% of the kids are enthused and excited, and those ones that are a little bit nervous get through that in a couple days.
Have you seen in testing that the scoring levels have gone up higher from kindergarten through the, what do you have, 8th grade or ninth grade?
We have 8th grade.
8th grade. Have the scoring averages on tests gone up?
Well, the state switched to a new testing system about 3 years ago, and it starts in 3rd grade. So we noticed that this year our 4th and our 5th graders, they both increased in their test scores, and so we were very, very excited about that. And the state doesn't test at the kinder, 1st, and 2nd grade level, but we believe that a lot of the increase that we saw in 4th and 5th grade had to do with the work that the kindergarten through 3rd, the work that they had in kindergarten, 1st grade, and 2nd grade. So it's a very new system. It's all online now, so very different than what it used to be.
How many in the nine elementary schools? How many kids do you have coming in the kindergarten level? This year, or roughly what every year?
Roughly, I would estimate. Our district is about 8,500 students, 8,500 students. So, we roughly have about 900 to 1,000 kids per grade level is about what it averages out to be. So, I would expect that we'll probably have, somewhere around 900 kindergartners or so.
Wow, that's a lot of young kids.
Yes, it's a lot of little ones. We also have TK, and TK is for students who turn 5 between September 1st and December 1st. So we also have some 4-year-olds that will be starting with us as well.
I remember when I started as a late 4-year-old or something, but other kids would start as a late 5-year-old because they had a certain concrete deadline, and and some of the kids that started almost a year younger, it's a little tougher for them when they're hooked in with some older kids. So that's a very, very good program. Is there anything else you would like to tell the parents?
You mentioned about what parents might expect, and so one of the things that as you mentioned, we've talked a lot about school safety, and we certainly believe that this is really a partnership between what we as the school district need to do and what our parents and community can do. So of course we're going to be asking our parents and community members to please drive safe around all of our schools and slow down. But also some of our parents might notice some changes in some of the procedures that it might used to be that it was very easy to go stop by your child's classroom, and we're going to be very strict about checking in at the office, confirming with the teacher that they are expecting that person to come. So we're going to be asking parents to really come alongside us, support school safety by partnering with us with our new procedures to make sure that we know who's on campus and that only people who have business on campus are there. So that will be a little bit of a change, and like I said, we're certainly wanting to partner with our community members that way.
You mentioned the website that you have and how it goes out on social media. Is that where, or is there some other place also that the parents of kids, even 1 year, 2 years before they come in to the school district that they should go for information on how to prepare their child for school. Stuff they can get, for the kids to start doing at home before they even get to school. Where would they go to
Well,
find that?
so one of the things we have in our district, we have a Neighborhood for Learning, which serves children who are 0 through 5 years old. And on that portion of our website, there's a lot of resources for young children, preparing them for school. And then we also have preschools on all of our campuses. We don't run the preschools, but we do have them at all of our schools except for 2 of our schools. But that would be another great place to get information about preparing kids for school.
But anyway, anytime you want to get anything out to the general public, let us know at Fort Hueneme News. And I think we have a fabulous school district, and you're doing a great job. And congratulations on starting your 3rd year.
Well, thank you very much, and
Okay.
thanks for having me today.
Okay. All right, thank you for watching this episode of Hello Fort Hueneme, and we will see you at our next show next month.